Tell me, darling, could we run away? We could hide away by the cactus desert blue. I can see it just a mile away from this crowded place. I could lay there next to you.
Hey friends, welcome back to our YouTube channel, Best Freaking Friends Forever. Thank you guys for again tuning in. So today we're going to conclude our Matrix franchise movies with doing the Matrix Revolutions. So the release date for that was the 5th of November of 2003. So the second one and the third one were released basically within the same year. The budget for this one was again $150 million. Opening weekend, it only made $48 million, which is with inflation 69. In the U.S., it grossed $139 million, which with inflation today would be $199 million. And then worldwide, it grossed $427 million, which is only $610 million with inflation.
So this one did not do near as good as the first two. Well, just people were mad because how this one ends, I think people were expecting it to be like this huge like ending of the Matrix, and it wasn't. And it was in a sense, but it wasn't. It ended in a way, but not. I don't know. It was weird because this machine still run things by the end of this, and people I think were expecting something different. And to know that he wasn't that was the other thing, is to find out that Neo is not the only chosen one that there was. There had been 5 others before him. He's the 6th one.
Well, and even with like budget and stuff, I guess it said that he made $15 million for the film. So that is basically, if you work it out, the equivalent of $400,000 for every minute of screen time. Well, then they replaced, we didn't talk about this, they replaced the Oracle with a new
one.
Yeah.
I think because the first actress died.
Yeah, she passed away from difficulty with, diabetes, things with that. She passed away. And they said it was ironic because her character liked candy so much. And she, in real life, passed away from diabetes or complications with diabetes.
When they say, she's saying how she had to make certain decisions and that's why she doesn't look the same anymore.
With Neo being in the train station, kind of in limbo in a way, because he's in that, and that's in the world. Yeah, I mean that's in between worlds basically.
Well, mobile. It's called mobile, and it's called Mobile Avenue, and mobile is an anagram for limbo.
Yeah, and he meets the family,
and they are programs themselves. And they were talking to Neo about love, and he goes, "But you're programs. Like, how can you experience love?" And once again, it's something that the Matrix is playing with and experimenting with. Years and years, hundreds of years from this point, maybe the Matrix will learn love and maybe start sympathizing with humanity and understanding. I just think it'll take a while. It's going to take some time for it to evolve to that.
And obviously they don't know. They know he's unconscious, but they don't know where he's at. And they do end up finding out they need to go look for the train man at this point.
Yeah, which that is the Frenchman, right? Is the one.
I think they have to go back to him. Yeah.
Well, and that scene annoyed me because they go back and forth. He basically says, "I'm not going to give you what you want," and I think didn't he want him to like go back to the Oracle, or they were going to go? I think it was kind of implied that they were going to go back to her and kind of figure out where he was at, and she was like, "I don't have time for this."
Well, because he wanted the oracles. He's like, yeah, I'll tell you what you
that's
want.
Right.
He's like, for her eyes. He wanted the oracle's eyes. And they finally do get fed up because she puts the gun on him, and then they all put the guns on each other. And then that's when she does say, yeah, you're right. I don't have time for this.
Well, the train man was taking the little girl to protect her because she was a program herself. But she has no purpose.
Well, why aren't you going? Because I think Neo asks them, why aren't you going to? And he said, the father said, the deal wasn't for us, only for her. So Niobe has a bigger part in this movie too, because she drives the ship to try to get to the docks to help.
Well, and then, so the first half of this movie, Neo's in it like a coma state type of thing. And he is wirelessly connected to the Matrix. He's not even plugged in. No, so he's wirelessly connected, and that's like a big thing too, is like that wireless connection, because for them to even get back to reality, they have to pick up a landline. They can't even use a cell phone. They have to use a landline to even get connected back to reality. But yeah, the first half is just them going back and forth on how to battle the machines and what they need to do. Neo wants to take a ship, and Niobe agrees to give them her ship so that he can complete his mission. He's like, I can't explain it, but I just know I need to go to Machine City.
Yep.
And so then we get to see the machines come to Zion. And there's this huge drill, this big drill that drills down into where they're living. But Neo and Trinity are on their way to Machine City, and they get there. And Neo battles with Bane.
Oh yeah, because Bane really comes out, and
Yeah, and Bane burns his eyes,
yes,
so Neo doesn't have eyes anymore. But that didn't matter. Neo will still be able to see without them.
I'll say Neo can see the lights.
Yeah, it's like a heat sense that he can see. Yeah, and of course he's able to take Bane out, and then him and Trinity are able to continue on their journey. Crash, and Trinity dies, which I kind of needed to happen, because if she was in the way, he was always going to choose her.
Well, he was like, you can't die. And she's like, yes, I can.
That baby thing comes out and talks to him, and he basically says, I want, Agent Smith is taking over. You're going to be no more if you don't do something about him. And they asked, the Matrix, like, what do you want? And he's like, I want peace. And Agent Smith's waiting on him.
Of course he is. And that's like the big battle scene at the end where he kind of does that thing again where he gets in that pose.
Yeah.
So come on. Well, and it was a bigger, intense scene this time because they're fighting in the rain. So, I mean, a little tidbit on that was many of the raindrops in the final fight between Neo and Smith are actually single lines of Matrix code, similar to those on displays seen in the real world throughout the trilogy. This subtle effect was added to imply the Matrix was beginning to destabilize.
Yeah.
The visual trick was easily seen on IMAX and larger movie theaters, but can only be seen on smaller televisions as banded rain that seems to jump, like static, during close-ups and in the fight scenes.
Yeah, I like that scene. That's probably my favorite part out of the whole movie, is all of that. All of him fighting with Agent Smith, and then that being the end. Neo sacrifices himself for the greater good. I liked all of that. But Neo was different because of the love. That was the big thing. The love, and he had a choice. And he chose love. And then, of course, second came to that was love for humanity. He wanted to save people.
Well, that's what and I think a big scene at the end when he's fighting them, Smith is just beside himself. He's like, why do you keep getting up? Why do you keep doing this? Why don't you just stay down? I mean, he's like, because I want to, because what I mean? Like, he wanted to save everybody.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't care what happened to him.
Yeah, and that's the difference between a human and a program. A human has a choice, a program has a purpose. And his purpose was to take over, and which ultimately ended up being his downfall, because he took over Neo. Neo was able to fight, even though he kind of copied on Neo was still able to take over. We forgot too, the agent is able to take over the Oracle because he takes over programs. So he's able to take over the Oracle. He was able to take over the little girl and all that. And then at the end, we get to see them again because everything kind of gets to go back the way it was. And we see the Oracle and the Architect talking, and she says, are you really going to let them free? And he says, I'm not human. Which, that goes back to people can't keep promises.
Well, she said, are they going to be able to wake up and be free? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, well, how long is this peace going to last? And he asked her that.
Yeah.
And she said, well, as long as it lasts.
Yeah. Well, and there's people, the thing is like, so Neo made the change because Neo was able to get out because he had help, and they were able to fight off the Sentinels. Because if you try to get out of the Matrix tries to stop it. But Neo, with what he had done in his sacrifice, he was able to now stop the machines. Like, you can leave the Matrix peacefully now. You don't have to have conflict if you chose to leave. And then those that want to stay can stay. So basically, it goes back to Neo. Do you want to take the blue pill, the red pill? This is your choice. Nobody's going to stop you. That's kind of what Neo created. And if you go back to the first movie, Neo's at the end credits, Neo's on the phone talking, and he says, he's saying, I will tell people the truth. I will show them the truth. And that's what he did do. And they're in talks of making a fourth one. It's actually supposed to come out at the end of this year. Mm-hmm. There's no plot line yet. We haven't seen or heard a plot line.
It will be interesting to see like where everybody's at with this piece now.
All right, that was The Matrix Revolutions. Did you guys like it? Did you not like it? Were you kind of with everybody else after the second? It was just after the second one, you didn't even care anymore? Because a lot of people were feeling that way after watching the second one. I don't blame them. I would be kind of upset too. But let us know. We would love to hear from you. We thank you for those who do comment and like and subscribe. We thank you so much. We appreciate it. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. We'd love for you to be a part of our team, our community, however we want to say that, our friendom, our kingdom, but our friendom. Once again, we thank you. I am Tiffany. This is my BFFF Shelly. Join us next time, friends, for another great episode.